Alright, well here we go. Here's my first review of the Galaxy Note 3. I intend to do a few of these. Now, I was going to do one a while back after I did it for about a week or a month, but I wanted to really get to grips with it to find out if it was the right phone for me, because I'm not particularly affiliated with any phone brand. If there's a phone that I like, I'll have a quick look at it and then I'll buy it, I'll try it out, and if I don't like it I'll get rid of it and get something else. Like I did with the Windows phone. Tried it, didn't like it. The Note 2 is the best phone I've ever had to date. It was very reliable, it was very quick, it was very big, it was fast, it was great. So naturally this was the next phone to get. So I initially unboxed it very quickly in my sort of stupid fashion, and was quick to say how amazing it is. And I still think that. I still think it is amazing. Now, if you're not one for watching really long, tedious videos, I don't know how long this is going to be, but I'll cut to the chase now. If you've got the Note 2 and it's still in good condition and it's still behaving as it should, then I don't see any reason for you to upgrade to this one. It's a better phone, it's slightly bigger, slightly faster, but it's not world-endingly different. Now, in my initial review was, oh, it feels like a completely different generation. I needed all that to wear off before I actually started to make sense with myself, because it's obviously when you very first get something, you are sort of taken on, you're under its spell for a little while. So I've got rid of the original launcher. I haven't got rid of it. I've installed Nova Launcher and the Knox Icon Pack. So just because it feels a little bit more responsive with this on, but if you do install another launcher, you do get all the default TouchWiz shortcuts. Everything's still as it was. So it's not a true launcher replacement. The difference with this one is obviously you can move anything to wherever you want it to be, and the screen transition just seems a little bit quicker. It's snappier. So I haven't got rid of TouchWiz as the main sort of head launcher because I hate it. I just think this one's a little bit snappier. So the very quick version is, if you've got the Note 2 and you're still happy with it, I would wait for the next one, because the wow factor of this will wear off after a month or so. It does reinvent itself every time I sort of maybe change the launcher or change the skin or change an icon pack. I forget just how customizable these things are. But I've got some points that I want to make with you. So I've got my good points, my bad points, and then I'll go through the things that I use my smartphone for, which won't be the same thing you use yours for, because I'm a little bit odd when it comes to what I want my phone for. I'm not a gamer, I'm not really an app junkie. I use a lot of social communication on it, I use the sat nav on it, so I'll list the things that I use it for, how I find it, if it's good, if it's bad. What I won't do is tell you the size of the screen, where the buttons are, and what processors in it, because you already know that, and that doesn't help you use it. Well, it does, but you don't need to know that for it to be an efficient phone. So I think the good points I'll start with is the size. I love the size. It's a really nice, good size. It doesn't feel that much bigger than the Note 2. Obviously I'm going to gear this video more towards people who've got the Note 2 or have had the Note 2. But again, it's if you're moving to a phablet or you want to try a Samsung phone, then this video might be useful to you. But again, the size, it's a good size. It will fit in my pocket, it'll fit in my back pocket, fit inside a shirt pocket, and it's not that heavy really. It sort of does a good job of just being slim and slipping in my pocket quite easily. If you're used to something like an iPhone, you may notice it, but it's not considerably heavier. It's a bit better balanced than the Note 2 when you walk in and you sort of balance it on your little finger and you type in, etc. It just feels a bit better balanced, but the size is definitely one of the best things about it. The screen obviously is the next best thing when you're watching videos on it in bed. If you're like me and you just use your phone to watch videos of other phones, because that's all I really do with it on YouTube, and watching things, when you get immersed in that screen, the picture is fantastic. And again, I love my Super AMOLEDs. I love the black being black. My background is just a black background. So because I'm not one for having really garish, horrible things going on. I just like to know where my apps are and get straight to them. The speed of it, obviously, the speed of it's really quick. This isn't the stock launcher, but it's got all the stock launchery options. Sort of, it's half installed out the way I see it. When you put Nova Launcher or any of the other ones on, you've still got, if I press Google Plus there or the Task Manager, it kind of jumps you back to TouchWiz. Up to 2.14 gig of RAM burning there, so I'm using quite a lot of RAM. Clear that now. What sometimes happens, so 30 applications closed, when you quit out of it, sometimes it jumps back Oh, it didn't do it then. It stuck with Nova. So yeah, the elements, as I said before, of the original launcher are still there. So you don't really get the full replacement that you might get with a Nexus or something. But again, speed, excellent. Camera interface is quite nice. It's like the Galaxy camera. I'll obviously cover more of the camera when I get to the camera section, but the interface for the mode, this selector here, is quite nice, quite straightforward. There is a bad point, there's bad points about the camera, but generally speaking the interface is a bit nicer, it's a bit more thumb friendly in this way, and the automatic mode is pretty cool. So I really do like the camera modes. Camera is one of the main things that I use my smartphone for, as you'll see when I list all the points that I use my phone for. Battery life, phenomenal. If you're a phone tinkerer like me and you're always messing on it, checking it, and checking your email, checking text, making phone calls, doing all the usual phone stuff. Again, I'm not a gamer, so I know that will impact the life of the phone quite a lot. But generally, day to day, I mean, now it's on 44%. So let's just have a look. I mean, I unplugged it this morning, and the settings bit has been tabbed, which is slightly different to the Note 2, and I do get lost in there a little bit. I think it's under general, the battery, there we go. So it's 12 hours 31 minutes, it's on 44% charge. I've had quite a long phone call on Viber, you know, the Wi-Fi phone call thing, although it's not listed. Oh, there it is, 3%. So I've not used it a considerable amount today. It's been ticking over on standby mainly. If I leave it for a day and don't really sit on my desk at work, I'll get home and it'll be on like 80% after unplugging it at 8 in the morning. So if you're going to go the distance on the train or just battery life, you want a phone that's got good battery life, this is it. Don't let the size of the screen make you think it's going to burn through the battery quickly. 3200 milliamp hour battery will last you definitely a day. You'll get 2 days out of it if you're not like a psycho phone freak that's constantly touching the phone. Again, I usually have the brightness on full. I've turned it down ever so slightly for this video because it was glaring out quite a lot. So yeah, the battery is absolutely fantastic. The back cover, something else I like, the sort of texture of it. I know it's not real leather, but it just helps you. It feels a bit grippier. It's quite nice. It looks good as well. It feels really nice. It doesn't slide when you angle your hand as easy as the shiny Note 2. So I really like that. I know it's just a simple thing. It's quite a subtle thing. You could probably get one for the Note 2 by now, I imagine, but it's quite a nice little addition. One of the other things I really like, and it might seem silly to you, but the alarm clock. It's voice controlled. So when the alarm goes off in the morning and you just say snooze or stop, it will snooze or stop. A lot of the voice control features on it with the S voice are crap. Very, very, very bad in my opinion. But the actual alarm, just to say snooze, stop, love it. I know it's been around since the Galaxy S4. It's just something that wasn't included on the Note 2, and I really like it. And it just saves you a lot of fumbling around. I even said sneeze once and it picked that up as snooze. So a little thing, but I really like it. The shrinkable screen, I don't know if you all know about this, but if you do a little, you've got to enable this, you do a little gesture, it's like a little sort of loop. If I can do it from this weird angle, typically I can't. You just put your finger off the edge of the screen and loop it back normally. It just doesn't seem to be doing it right now. There we go. Only took me 700 attempts, but normally when you're not looking through a really awkward angle like this, you can actually resize the phone screen. This might seem a bit pointless, but when you're actually walking and you're just texting with one thumb, you can move that around. Again, it's just very awkward from the angle I'm at the minute. So if we just slide that to the edge, again, obviously all the options work in there when you're doing this. You can actually resize it to a size that suits you best, and I thought you could just hold. You can hold and drag it. So I say I put it in that bottom right corner. If you're walking with it and holding it, you can just type, and obviously the keyboard, everything is much smaller. It all works exactly the same way as you'd expect, but it's just quite nice to be able to do that if you feel a bit phased using the full-size keyboard, etc. And then you just press maximize when it's back. For some reason, that little half loop gesture through this angle is really hard to do for me, but it's just a little D or a C. There you go, it's that way, so it's across and back, and then when you finish with it, maximize it. That's quite a nice little feature. The S Pen integration and the capacitive buttons now work. I mean, I'm not a big S Pen user, and everyone says, oh, why have you got a Note then? The integration, I'm not going to go through all the menus and what they do, but it's easier to use, and it's more pleasant to use than it is on the Note 2. and the simple fact that these buttons down here work. You probably know that already. And the fact that you can put the pen in that way or that way, you know. So I'm going to come on to the S Pen in a little bit more detail later on. Get quite a lot of updates on it as well. I've had I think I've had 5 updates come through since I've had it, so over the air updates. Some of them are quite big, a few hundred meg, some of them about 30 meg. But it's quite nice to see that they're pushing quite a few updates through. So I did have trouble with the Wi-Fi and still have from time to time. I'm going to try that for you in a minute, see how that works. I do have Wi-Fi on all the time when I'm at home, obviously, and I use my own fibre optic connection. So I've got a good connection coming into the house, but I do find that it drops on and off. Now I'm not sure if that's a hardware problem or a software problem, but every update I get does seem to make it a little bit better. So hopefully it is literally just the software that needs updating. So they're my favourite things, those are the good points. My bad points, the first one, again, is the same as the first good point. It's the size. You will find it, and I do sometimes find it's a little bit overwhelming. As much as I love the size, it might sound hypocritical, but sometimes I just wish it was a bit smaller in certain situations. But that's not why you buy a big phone tablet, phablet thing. And the fact that you can do that little sort of minimise trick is quite handy. So as much as it is a blessing, it's also a curse. It's quite fragile as well. The Note 2 I found was, mine got bashed. I mean, my Note 2 got smashed. It got dropped and smashed. But these corners here, with these sort of, it looks like a cheap toy with these little sort of the effect on the lines. And if you did drop that on the corner, it just feels like if you dropped it about a foot, it would literally disintegrate and obliterate. It doesn't feel like it would have, but it wouldn't survive very easily if you did drop it. I definitely don't want to try it, but I really do feel that it wouldn't take to even like a 2-foot drop. The fragility goes with the build quality as well. As much as the screen is nice and I quite like the back end, the back side of it, this sort of, you know, them cheap Chinese toys where they have a pretend phone. It's supposed to symbolise the pages of a book, but just, I don't know, I just wish it was sleek and a bit smoother. Just feels a bit ropey. They could have made it, I mean, we've always wanted them to make a metal one, but whether they will or not I don't know, but the build quality doesn't scream premium, although the back cover, it does feel quite nice. Just this edging, this crappy edging, just, I think they could have done something a bit better than that. So the Wi-Fi dropping out is something that has been bothering me quite a lot, that I just mentioned. Now let's just quickly jump onto the YouTube, play a video. Now I've found lately, this is my mate Stevie Jacko, he's just about survived the Google YouTube integration. As you can see, his clothes are all ragged there. YouTube ruined his life. But yeah, it's actually, I've got like a buffering. I've got an idea. I can't watch this right now, I won't be able to concentrate. But yeah, it's actually, it was streaming quite a while, quite far in advance. What I found before a lot of the updates is it was doing that thing where the video was catching up to itself all the time, and it was forever buffering, and it was really annoying me. Anything else you do with the phone, the internet doesn't seem to doesn't get in the way. You'll see the network name pop up a lot at the bottom. It doesn't seem to be doing that anymore. But as far as the connectivity compared to the Note 2, out of the box, never seemed to drop off. I never had a problem with it. It seemed to me like the Note 2 was more ready for launch when it came out. This one, they've pushed a fair few updates out. I'd had it for 2 or 3 days. The updates were just flying out and trying to get it up to speed. So it was a little bit disappointing to see that on such an expensive flagship. But, you know, touch wood, it is getting improved. It does seem to be getting better. And then when I loaded that video, then it did stream quite a bit. So that's nice to see. The crappy stock keyboard. I've got a keyboard on there now. Let's just go to Twitter or something like that. Replaced it with the Google standard one, which is quite a lot better. The stock one just seems a little bit laggy, a little bit annoying. So again, it's not really a problem in Android, as you know, because you can install SwiftKey or a million other keyboards. It's not really a problem, it's just a little niggle that the keyboard's a bit crap. The only good thing about it is it has a line of numbers along the top when you get it, so you do get used to that. The camera, as much as I like the interface of the camera, it does seem to be a bit fussy. And what I mean by that, so we've got this lens cap, I'll put it in the shot, and it's on automatic at the minute. Let's see if I can focus. It's very awkward to do this from here, so hit the button, take the picture. It says processing. Now if you move it a little bit whilst it's processing, in this particular instance, it's done a good job. It's slightly out of focus because I'm really in an awkward place there. But what I do find, and it's not every time, is that if I snap a picture, And I've done a few things. I mean, that was crystal clear in focus, and it was bang in the middle. It's a good distance off. I mean, I'm not portraying this as the best way I could, but when I snapped that picture, the lens cap was bang in the middle. And it actually seems to grab it a split second after you took the picture. Now obviously there's a lot of settings in the camera, there's a lot of things you can change and tweak, but I've found in certain instances it just hasn't. I mean, there's a couple of things where I wanted to get an atmospheric sort of crowd, the bonfire night thing, there's loads of people. I held the phone still, snapped the picture, I kept it still, looked at the picture later on, it was just a big blur of people, and I remember thinking, well, I was holding it still. It just doesn't seem to capture the exact moment that you take the picture sometimes. Which again could be a software issue, it could be done up, but it is one of the few things that I use my phone for quite a lot. So the quality of the camera is great, but just the responsiveness sometimes, and again compared to the Note 2, never had a problem with it. You point shoot, as long as you're in focus and you hit that button, it took the picture. I've had a few issues with the responsiveness of the whole system. I've had it so like if you're in the middle of writing a tweet or a text or something and your alarm goes off in the morning and you sort of lose the keyboard, it'll get itself in a bit of a knot. This phone, I've had to take the battery out at least twice. You know when it locks and you literally can't do anything. Now I kind of expect that with new devices because you know they're a bit buggy, they're still pushing out the updates. But again, with the Note 2 and all the people I know that have got the Note 2, no such thing has happened like that. It seemed to be that the Note 2 was a lot more polished when it came out. This one, a little bit niggly, like I say, and it's one of the benefits of having a removable battery. You can just rip the battery out, put it back in, restart it, no problem. It doesn't have a big crash or error report or anything like that. It's just one of those things that a couple of times it's tripped itself up and it's caused me a bit of a problem. It tends to be when the alarm goes off when I'm actually doing something that involves the keyboard, because like the keyboard shouldn't be on the screen and the keyboard dips and the whole screen goes black, and it's like, right, I know from this moment on I'm not going to get it to do anything that I need it to do. The S Pen, which is again another reason why some people get this phone in particular, because they can take handwritten notes and stuff, I still find it fiddly. Now obviously you can't get a full size pen in there, my hands aren't exceptionally massive or anything, but there's a tiny little button on the side. If you're familiar, you click this button and then you tap the screen and it does various things. In this particular case I've got it set up to take a screenshot, and you can take a nice bit of screenshot of nothing, which would be useful, and you can save it. You can do all the typical S Note things. I'm not going to go over everything, and like I said in the good points, you can hit back up on the capacitive buttons, but I just find you have to have a real sort of claw hand to use it, and because they bang on about this pen so much and it's one of the big reasons to get the phone, I just find it uncomfortable. I mean, I've got the Note 8, I've had the Note 10, and they're a bit more bearable, but still it's not a pen, and it's advertised as a pen. As you can see there, it just and so sits on the inside. You know, it just feels like you've got to, I don't know, it's hard to explain really, but I mean, it's very responsive and it does the job great. And if you just want to squiggle, or you know, as most people do, you know, draw the old penis and stuff like that, because I mean, let's face it, that's why you would want to handwrite something. But I just find it's fiddly, and when you're holding that button, so if we go onto the main screen where you do the sort of pop-up bit where you press the button, which is actually slightly different in Note. This goes to show how much I use it. It's acting like a right click. I use it very little, because in fact when you initially pull it out, little wheel, I either make the choice to use it there and then or not. But again, I suppose my point is it just feels awkward. It feels crunch hand, your hand feels sort of crunched up using it. And I also find that the idea of it is brilliant. You think, right, I can handwrite notes, I can do this, I can take notes in meetings, and which I've actually done. I have done that with this phone, and I have made handwritten notes, but I just find that it just feels a bit fiddly, and you know, the whole holding it in one hand and writing with the other, it seems like a really nice idea on paper, no pun intended. When it comes to the crunch, it's just, as time goes by, you find yourself using it less and less and less, and I can't see them doing anything incredible with it, apart from the cropping of the screenshots. That's about the best thing you can do, because you can be quite precise with it. You can like hold a button, snap a screenshot. It's a bit fiddly to press that button. I don't know if they should make it so that you should just squeeze the pen or something, but that button implementation just feels awkward and fiddly to me. The S Voice is still a bit shit, if you ask me. I turn it off from pressing this button. I thought I had. Oh, I haven't. There we go. Right. Set a timer for 30 minutes.
Set timer for 30 minutes. Say start, cancel, or repeat the time.
Start.
Start timer.
So you might think that was pretty practical, but that process just seemed to take too long to me. What time is it?
Say what time to set the timer for.
No, what time is it?
Okay, cancelled.
Hi Galaxy. What's the time?
It is 8:42.
Hi Galaxy. What's the weather like in Lancaster?
Here is the weather for Lancaster, Lancashire. Today looks mostly clear with a temperature of 5 degrees.
Hi Galaxy. Write an email.
I am not sure if I can answer that properly. I can do an internet search for an email.
No. Hi Galaxy. Write an email.
S-Voice does not currently support this feature.
Okay. Hi Galaxy. Turn Wi-Fi off.
Turn off Wi-Fi.
Hi Galaxy. Turn on Wi-Fi. So obviously it's struggling to do that without a Wi-Fi connection because it's having to use its crappy data signal that I've got in this house. But it's not so much, it's more polished than it was on the second one, but it just seems to take that...
Turn on Wi-Fi.
Thank you. It just seems to take that a little bit too long to do something, especially the timer, which is something that I do use. It just bugs me. I just think it's rubbish, to be honest. I mean, I'll do an individual video of it like I did with the Note 2, trying to outsmart it and whatnot. And it's going to do a better job than the second one because that's what next generation things do. But I just think it's still not amazing. I think it's still trying to be an iPhone and it's not doing a very good job of it. It's quite embarrassing, really. But again, that actually performed a little bit better than I was expecting then. So props. There we go. The speaker on it, it's a bit crackly, a bit crappy. If you put music on full blast or record a video like I often do, it tends to when you very first play the video back, it just gives a crackle right at the start. And when you turn the volume up, it's just a bit naff. I struggle to sort of, I won't just put music on and play it from it because it sounds a bit naff. I would expect it to sound better than it does. The speaker on the Note 2, in my opinion, sounded better. So I don't know what they've done, but it's just at the bottom here, not at the back, under the grill. And it just produces a bit naff sound quality, to be honest, in my opinion. So the things I use my phone for mainly, which again will differ to what you use yours for, I use it for the alarm, I use it for messaging, I use it for checking emails, reading. I don't usually sort of compose any on it really. I use the camera, I use the phone itself, I use the video camera, and I use the sat nav, and I use the internet and social apps. And the S Pen the only thing I use the S Pen for is to just show it to people, to sort of say, hey look, this is the S Pen, this is what you can do with it, and everyone's like, wow, that's amazing, and then I put it away and never really use it again. I said before, it's got a really good alarm, which is like, you might be thinking, what, an alarm, really? All phones have that, but just the little voice feature is great for the alarm. Really like that. Messaging, once you've got a decent keyboard installed, the social, the Facebook, the Twitters, your actual My SMS and your texting, great, no problem. You can swipe. Again, you can make that screen a bit smaller, which I just can't do while I'm on camera. So you can make the keyboard a bit smaller while you're walking. Really good for that. Checking email, obviously it's same as any Android device, any smartphone. It pops up at the top and then you can just check it as and when. You know, there's no brainer. It's obviously going to be easy for that. Use the camera a lot, and again, it's a little bit disappointing for me on this. I was expecting to be a bit more responsive, a bit more accurate than it is. The quality of it's really good, but the actual responsiveness of it is a bit naff. You can actually take pictures with your voice. Again, same as the S4. No real new information there. But if I do put the camera on, put it on facing upwards, shoot. So that's quite handy when you're holding the phone and you want to take a few pictures. I really do like that. Again, it's nothing new if you're used to the Galaxy S4. The video camera is fantastic on it. I really like recording, but again, the sound quality spoils it a bit. There's always a crackle. I do record like video blogs and stupid videos with my phone quite a lot, and when they start off, you always get that rough little crackle at the start. Internet and social apps, you know, whether you use Chrome or the internet browser that's built into it, it works very well, because you've got that nice screen, and the responsiveness of it, I mean, is as you would expect these days. There's no excuse for things to be sort of laggy and buggy and crappy, and the brightness is a little bit too naff for you to see that there. So yeah, it's really nice for browsing the web, and again, that's one of the main things that we all do on our smartphones, I'm sure. The sat nav itself, I've used it to sort of navigate to a few addresses. It struggles when you're on foot a little bit, but again, that was like, for example, when I've been in sort of London when you're on foot, and I do use my phone for this kind of thing a lot. So if I'm in a specific place and I'm just navigating from one place to another, I did find that the GPS accuracy, you bounce you off, it would spin you around, it would sort of knock you off course quite a lot, which is a bit of a pain for me, because you know, it's the difference between getting to an appointment or not. I do literally rely on it too heavily. Always use my iPhones for that. The Note 2 GPS seemed to be a bit more accurate than it is on this. Now, whether that's to do with the GPS chip itself or some updates that aren't quite out in time for it, but again, it does seem a little bit laggy for me, or not quite as accurate as I'd want it to be. When you're in the car and using the navigation, it's fine, but when you're on the foot using that kind of navigation, it's a bit of a struggle. So that's it really. I've got my alarm, my messaging, my email, camera, the phone itself, video camera, sat nav, internet and social stuff, and so that's everything I use my phone for, and it does a very good job of doing it. But I just wish it was a little bit more polished when it came out. I just wish it was a little bit tougher, a bit more resilient. The last thing I want to do with my phone is put it in a case, and I feel that if I don't put it in a case, it's not going to stay this pristine for long. My conclusion is, if you've got a Note 2, like I said right at the start, you're not really gaining anything mind-blowingly different. You're just getting nicer versions of everything. Despite what I said in my initial impressions video, once the sort of buzz wears off, you're just getting slightly higher resolution screen, slightly bigger screen, slightly worse sound, slightly less accurate GPS, and slightly nicer S Pen integration, better camera interface. But a lot of these things are going to come to your Note 2. If you're going to hold out and you get the 4.3 update, you'll find that most of the things that are already on here would be on your tried and tested Note 2, which is already going to do you for another year at least. My girlfriend's got the Note 2 and she absolutely loves it. She's always on it. And again, the responsiveness of the camera, there's a few things that aren't quite polished on this, which I think should be. And I will do separate videos on the specifics, and this was supposed to be a quite short video, just a general overview for what I use my phone for. But again, if you're wanting to look at all these Note 3 videos, as I'm sure there are millions on the internet, that will tell you where the buttons are and just tell you what the specs are, this isn't one of those. This is just from day to day. Yes, it fits in your pocket. Yes, it does everything you need it to do. You've got a long battery life. You've got a nice camera interface, but I don't know, it's just, I think the thing is with me, I expect so much from these devices, especially the money they cost, and I'm always let down in a certain area. That's why I'm always on the lookout for the next good phone. Let's face it, we can't make our own phones, we've just got to pick one that suits our needs, and this one suits mine for now. But like I say, don't be crazy and think, right, I'm going to go into debt, I'm going to get a 25-year contract just to get this because it's the latest one. You don't need to do that. Stick with your Note 2 if you can. But if you do get it, you won't be disappointed. And if you have got it already, and you've watched this far through this bumbling crappy video, well done. Let me know if you've got Wi-Fi issues. Let me know if you agree with anything I said or you disagree with anything I said. Again, this is just a brain dump to try and help anyone that's out there thinking should they buy it, especially if they're going to upgrade. That's it for now anyway. I'm going to leave it right there. Take care now. Bye bye then.